on Sunday will be officially the 1-year anniversary of the near assassination of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And they came out with news yesterday, I believe, that 6 different Secret Service officers had been disciplined for the failures. I think it's fair to say basically all systems failure that occurred in Butler, Pennsylvania almost 1 year ago today. It was a Saturday, for those of you who remember, and Monday was the first day of the Republican National Convention from Milwaukee. And Trump came within a quarter inch of having his head blown off on live television. And we talked with Selena
Zito.
Zito, who's got her book out about Butler, Pennsylvania. I've been reading about that. We talked with her earlier this week, and the extent to which that is an historic event, I think is going to continue to echo and reverberate. But Trump is talking about that with special interviews that he is doing, including with his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. And we have a cut from that we would like to play for all of you, because it is only by the grace of God. If you think about where we were 1 year ago today and how different this country would look if that assassination attempt had been successful, here is Trump talking about that with Laura.
Well, it was unforgettable. Didn't know exactly what was going on. I got whacked. There's no question about that. And fortunately, got down quickly. And people were screaming, and I got down quickly, fortunately, because I think they shot 8 bullets. Then one got me, and one got another one, and one got another one, and one killed Corey, the firefighter. Great guy. You know, we had a tremendous, massive crowd. Tens of thousands of people were there. And our sniper, within less than 5 seconds, was able to get him from a long distance with one shot. If he didn't do that, you would have had an even worse situation.
And I do think, Buck, sometimes you get lost, all of us do, in the day-to-day 24-hour news cycle. And the question is, what is this going to still matter in a day? Is this going to still matter in 2 days? A prediction, this day, July 13th, and what happened on that day and President Trump's response on that day, I think won him the election. People forget that Elon Musk voted against Trump in 2016. He voted for Hillary Clinton. He voted for Joe Biden in 2020. It wasn't until July 13th, 2024, and I saw one of your tweets about this, when Elon Musk got off the bench and suddenly said for the first time, I'm with Trump. And people out there listening to us right now, some of you voted Trump in 16, some of you voted Trump in 20, some of you voted Trump in 24. Trump, right. Yeah, right. Trump had the nomination locked up, and again, remember, he was going to accept it the next week.
Well, this is what I mean, though, because now you're talking about a historical situation where, God forbid, and as we know, Trump is fine, and it was all he was okay. It was a terrible day, not just for the country politically and psychologically, but Corey pardon me on the last name. I'm not able to say it, but the guy who got killed that day, Compatore, am I saying it right?
I think that's right.
Compatore. Yeah. But he lost his life that day to that shooter, and you sit here and you say how different things would have been, because you would have had a country that wouldn't have accepted the eventual result based on the fact that our candidate would have been stolen from us by a bullet. And that would have been even more of a psychic shock than, as you said, RFK. Okay, that's in a primary, but was he going to be the candidate or not? Obviously, a terrible situation, a political assassination. And Trump wasn't just the candidate. Trump is a political movement unto himself who has reshaped the Republican Party in the 21st century. The most consequential president probably of our lifetime. You'd certainly have to go back to Reagan, or maybe you could say Obama's consequential in destroying the country. But that would have been an enormous change in the world, and certainly in the America that we live in today. And I remember we were at the RNC. There was a feeling of surrealism with, so we're just going to have this RNC now and process the fact that we almost lost our guy. We almost lost our president.
I think there are both short and long-term implications that are difficult to even comprehend. And I think it's important to go back and think how fortunate we all are with the way that turned out. Couple of things here. One, Trump had not picked J.D. Vance. So it's not only just that he would have been killed, they would have, the RNC chair said they would have canceled the RNC. So no one would have gone to Milwaukee. There would have been a prolonged period of mourning of some sort. There also would have been a lot of glee, sadly, on the left that somebody killed Trump.
Horrifically, yes. Yeah.
There would have then had to be a new individual selected as the nominee. And remember, there would not have been a VP selection at that point in time. And honestly, one reason J.D. Vance got picked, I think, was because Trump wanted somebody who was stiff in the spine MAGA in the event that somebody else killed him, which doesn't get talked about very much. Here's the other thing, Buck. We still know nothing about the assassin.
I know, the shooter. I know.
Nobody is would-be assassin. Nobody would have ever believed, and for the rest of everyone listening's life, and for the next 200 years, much like with JFK's assassination, people would have said, this wasn't a lone gunman. There's no way this ended up happening. The fix was in. The government killed Trump. Here's the other question. Does Biden still run? Do they elevate Kamala if the Republicans are scrambling to try to find a new candidate? Who is that candidate? I think it would have been Ron DeSantis. That's my analysis of the tea leaves. But it would have been a huge mess, the likes of which the country would never have recovered from. To say nothing, Buck, think about this. What about the president getting his head blown off on live television and the psychic trauma that creates for hundreds of millions of people seeing that happen?
You couldn't have had a fair election afterwards.
Correct.
There's no such thing as a fair election when you have somebody like Trump, who is a former president, who is the leader of his party, and as I said, is a one-man political movement who has reshaped the landscape politically of this country already, against some other candidate. Like, there's no way that you would be able to convince Trump voters in the event that terrible thing had happened, in the event that it had been an assassination, that this election is legit. And then what does that do to the country, right? How do you go forward when there's a very real sense that a fair election was completely stolen from the country, but through violence, mind you, through the worst kind of violence politically. So, this is one thing, and I want to give, I think it was Fisher King, who is a Twitter account. Do you follow Fisher King? I don't even know who this guy is. He's got a very interesting account on X. Very, a lot of, I'm not endorsing everything he's written. I'm just saying the guy writes some smart stuff. And while people have been very upset recently, and I understand, and I don't want to get into it right now, and I do agree that there are a lot of problems and unanswered questions, and there's whiplash and all this. People have been so upset about Epstein. Kamala could have won that election, everybody. And then we'd be in a country, and he pointed this out on X, which is what's making me think of this. We're just talking about in the context of what if that assassination attempt had been successful, but just even think about how different the country would be if just the election result had gone in a different direction. We're now sitting here, and rightly so, pushing Trump for the best possible decisions and the most transparency and all of that we can get. We could be in a situation where all the stuff that we've already seen in 6 months was going in the other direction, where the border was still wide open, just go down the list.
Well, that's why I woke up this morning and I saw that interview, and I just was thinking how profoundly grateful all of us should be, and I hope you take a moment to just think about it. What would have happened if that bullet had been 1/4 inch closer to Trump and had killed him on that day? We're in an incredible place right now, I think, as a country. Doesn't mean everything's perfect. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with everything that's being done. There's always room for improvement, all of that. But I think a lot of times in the day-to-day, we don't pause and think, hey, let's just look back a year. Man, what an incredible year that has been, and how grateful for those of us who are out there listening we all should be compared to where we could be.
I would just say catastrophism and negativity, it's always the easy way. It's always the easy way to get attention, always the easy way to bring people into your sphere of influence. Oh, everything is falling apart. Oh, everything is terrible. We have challenges. There's some stuff that needs to be fixed. We're focused on that. We want accountability. We want more wins. We're not tired of winning. But the mood of the country overall right now, and this is where I think, Clay, we bring it all full circle. The mood of the country 1 year from where we were possibly on that day in Butler should be one of tremendous thanks to God and tremendous blessings for America that we are receiving. And I know it's imperfect and it always will be. And I understand there's a particular amount of frustration right now, but could have been a lot worse, everybody. And that's not some whataboutism. It almost was. It was 1 inch away from being a very different country in a much, much darker place than we ever could have imagined. So we are allowed to feel blessed. And I thought this 4th of July, I think there were a lot of people who truly were celebrating on Independence Day weekend, because the country's in a good spot right now overall. It is. I know people can yell at me. It actually is in a good place right now relative to what could have been and relative to what the options were. We're seeing some really positive developments happen, and you should take stock of that as well. Otherwise, you just exhaust yourself with the constant sense that nothing changes. It's all uniparty. It all falls apart. Everything is screwed. No. That's never the way forward. So, if there's too much optimism on this show, well, that's the way it's going to be sometimes.